from Kenyans during Tuesday's sitting following a short recess. Members of Parliament from both houses accused the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority of hiking fuel prices. Musa Saleh explains.
The Speaker of the National Assembly.
Members of Parliament woke up to an in-tray full of activities as they resumed their House sittings from a short recess on Tuesday. First on their list, the imposition of the new fuel prices in the country.
The recent increase in fuel products prices, Mr. Speaker, is not just insensitive, but is very inconsiderate to the people of Kenya. At such a time that our economy is at its knees, Mr. Speaker, it was despicable to see our government increasing the cost of life, Mr. Speaker, to Kenyans.
Mr. Speaker, if you remember very well, this is an act that we enacted in Parliament 2018, and we should have not had a blame game. Either because I saw my colleagues, some of my colleagues saying it's Keleweke, Tangatanga. It's not about Keleweke, Tangatanga. It's about our people.
Because as Parliament we are being bashed. And hence, even as we work on the issues surrounding this matter, let the committee not be driven by a feeling of guilt that Parliament imposed a tax.
On Wednesday last week, the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority (EPRA) announced a record high change in fuel prices. Super petrol is now retailing at 134 shillings and 72 cents per litre in Nairobi, while diesel is retailing at 115 shillings and 60 cents and kerosene at 110 shillings and 82 cents. The prices are lowest in Mombasa, retailing at 132 shillings, 113 shillings and 108 shillings for super petrol, diesel and kerosene respectively.
We know the government needs money to run the government, run the county government, to also give us money for our roads and all that. However, I challenge when we realize that at times over 80, over 70, over 50% as it's current, the cost of price of petroleum products is taxes, then we have a reason to worry. We have a serious reason to worry as a country.
Inamaanisha hizo nchi zingine hawana VAT. Hizo nchi zingine wanafanya namna gani? Kwa sababu tunapotoa mafuta ni mahali pamoja. Na hiyo mafuta inakuja kupitia Kenya, ikaenda Uganda. Na kama inaenda Uganda, hata Uganda inatumia gharama kupeleka hiyo mafuta kutoka Kenya hadi Uganda.
Mr. Speaker, it was said that taxation without representation is equal to tyranny. But I want to say that when people are overtaxed, it's like slavery. It is enslavement, what we are doing to the people of this country.
The president cannot use Article 115 to harass. And the whole thing is about IMF, Mr. Speaker. IMF have said we must charge VAT. This president is using his powers to make innocent hustlers and Kenyans suffer, Mr. Speaker. And this House cannot just sit.
However, a section of members of Parliament claimed that lack of an active opposition in government has afforded President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration the laxity to comply with the IMF new regulations to save the country from a debt crisis amid the COVID-19 pandemic, further faulting President Kenyatta's handshake with former Prime Minister Raila Odinga.
And all the levies that have been there, we have not been able to challenge His Excellency the Executive as required. So basically, I blame the handshake for most of this problem, and we have not been able to challenge the executive, and we have underrated ourselves as Kenyans, and we have let down our electorates.
A colleague has mentioned there that these are the times when Kenyans miss the time we had an opposition in this country. If we had an active opposition playing their role, some of these checks and balances would have been looked at, Mr. Speaker.
Their counterparts in the Senate also slammed the Energy Cabinet Secretary Charles Keter and his petroleum and mining counterpart John Munyes as the two snubbed the upper house's summons on Tuesday to respond to queries on last week's fuel price hikes.
Mr. Speaker, it is very offensive to this House for two ministers to be invited to come to the House
to deal with a matter of national crisis, and none of them turns up, not even their PSs, not even a representative to come and tender an apology as to why they were not here. One minister, in fact, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Keter, a former colleague here, simply sent a message that this doesn't concern him. This is serious, Mr. Speaker.
This issue really bothers me. It also makes me now realize and support everyone who talks about a system which is mixed, where cabinet secretaries sit here so that they can become accountable.
National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has asked Parliament to look into the fuel pricing in the country, giving the Finance Committee 14 days to submit a report to the House. Musa Salah, TV 47.
Let us pray.